LeBron James needed roughly 20 years in the NBA to break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's all-time scoring record. Considering the fact that Abdul-Jabbar's record stood for nearly 4 decades, any initial projections would have assumed that, at best, the eventual record breaker would just barely scrape by that all-time mark. After all, Abdul-Jabbar averaged only 10.1 points per game in his final NBA season. But James averaged just under 29 in the season in which he broke Abdul-Jabbar's record. He's at 25 per game a year later, and lest you believe he's slowing down, his game this past week saw him single-handedly outscore the Clippers in a 21-point fourth-quarter comeback. James may not be at his own peak, but he's outpacing pretty much everyone else's. He'll emphatically prove it in the very near future when he becomes the first player in NBA history to score 40,000 regular season points. James had 31 in Thursday's overtime victory over the Wizards, so it's highly likely he'll hit the mark Saturday against the Nuggets. As we've covered, he's not going to stop there. Eventually, James will probably retire. His all-time scoring record changes by the day, but eventually, it is going to settle at some preposterously high number. The question now is, what will it be? When James eventually calls it a career, what will his final scoring tally be? So when will LeBron retire? James has given us no direct indication of how much longer he plans to remain in the NBA. "I don't have a cap on how long I want to play," he said in 2022. However, there are a few resources we can use as a guideline. The oldest player in NBA history was Nat Hickey, who played 2 games just shy of his 46th birthday. Of course, those aren't really relevant to us because this happened in 1948 and he activated himself as the coach of the Providence Steamrollers. The real answer here is Kevin Willis, who played until he was 44. But Willis played only 43 minutes in his final season, and he never played 30 minutes per game once in his 40s. No, we're looking for players who remained contributors into their 40s, and those players are hard to find. Only 9 players have ever started 20 or more games in their AGE 40 season or later. You won't be surprised to hear that they are all Hall of Famers. Robert Parrish, leader in the clubhouse, is the only player to do so at 42, and he also did it at 40. Dikembe Mutombo, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, John Stockton, Karl Malone and Dirk Nowitzki. Generally speaking, only legends start at this age. James obviously qualifies, but these players are no slouches, either. If they all started to fade at right around the same benchmark, we should probably take that into consideration. If James lasts until his AGE 42 season as a starter, that would take us through the 2026-2027 season. That is an important milestone for another reason. It is when his second son, Bryce James, becomes eligible for the draft. James has long made it clear that he wants to play with his oldest son, Bronny, who is currently at USC. James has hinted at a desire to play with both, and he was even in a commercial that seemingly confirmed it. So, for now, let's say that the plan is to make it through the 2026-2027 season and ideally suit up with both of his sons at some point along the way.